Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be taking a look at Penguin influencer, Continental publisher Albatross books. Now these books are fantastic quality, they're absolutely gorgeous, and I've got, well, a sampling of a collection really, but what I've got I think you'll really enjoy looking at, and these were definitely the influence for Penguin down the line, so they do make fascinating viewing. So that's going to be the subject of today's video, so sit back, relax, and let's get to it. Okay then, so this is the first look at our Albatross books. Now, Albatross, this is the earliest Albatross that I've got, which is actually number 2. But prior to that, the only sort of paperbacks that were around in any great number were these, which is the Torschnitz editions. This was a collection of British and American authors. This is just a biography title. But these were softcover books printed from Germany, in Germany, for distribution across Europe, but not for publication in the UK or the USA. That was sort of the restriction. And these were very, very flat sort of books. The size-wise, they're more similar to an American early paperback, and they were very, very drab. They're all sort of these greyish sort of covers. Nice editions, nice and clean, but not exactly setting the world on fire, shall we say? And well, they are what they are, really. But these were the basis. These were the very sort of first paperbacks until, also in Germany, came along the Albatross press. So Kurt Enoch was one of the founders of Albatross, and these were basically an attempt to modernize these boring old Torschnitz editions. So you can see size-wise, they are a little bit taller and a tiny few millimeters thinner as well across, and this is the perfect size for a paperback in my opinion. And these were basically what replaced these Torschnitz editions, and to be honest, as soon as these became established, so well established across Europe, the Albatross brains were able to approach Torschnitz and buy them outright, and they instantly had this huge library that they could then call on. So as I said, this is not a first edition, but this is number 2 in the series, but it's actually a 4th, dated 1935. But this experiment, these Albatross books only ran for about 400 volumes in total, so there's not that many actually even published. Most of them are between 1932 and 1935. The process stops then during the war, but by that time, of course, Penguin were in full swing, but it does come back briefly, very, very briefly, for a year or two after the war, before it disappears completely into existence. You'll notice with these that they are all color-coded, very similar to the Penguin books. The majority of them came in dust wrappers, so this one has got a dust wrapper there. Actually got quite a nice ex-libris sticker there from J.G. Wester, whoever he was. And they are beautifully produced. That is the key. So if you hold this, it is like holding an early Penguin book, and it's a book that is just a joy to hold in your hand. It's an absolute delight. Now they are also color coded. Now I figured out what some of them are. Some of the other color coded, I'm not sure. So these ones, which they're classed as like a yellowy color. Well, this is classed as orange, which is actually short stories stroke humor, and that would fit in with this one. So that's as I said, this number 2 by Aldous Huxley. This red one here, now red is listed as adventure stroke crime. Now they did produce specific crime novels, which were where they borrowed the best of crime books of the period from Collins in the UK, and you'll sort of see the logo, the Albatross logo, change slightly, but this is, like, I would guess, like the red one is an adventure. You call this as an adventure one rather than a specific crime title. And this one's dated 1933, number 6. Now you don't come across these very often. I mean, you really don't. My collection, which amounts to basically about 35 to 40 books, has all come about from finding them with Penguin book collections, because that's what I've been actively looking for, Penguin and Pan, over the years. And these are just ones that came my way, and I've never ever turned them down, because these were the blueprint for Penguin books. Alan Lane got hold of copies of the Albatross Library. He was travelled throughout Europe before the Second World War started, and he got his hands on these, and he thought these are fantastic. He tried to license them, but due to copyright issues, he just thought, there's no bother, I'm going to set up Penguin instead, and that's exactly what he did. So these pink ones, I don't know what these are. I don't know if this is signifying travel or what. I know that the yellow ones are psychology, the orange ones are short stories, and the red ones are adventure and crime. I'm not sure about the pink ones, so maybe we'll be able to figure that out, or someone can pop something in the comments. So this is D.H. Lawrence, Apocalypse. This is number 31. As I said, when you consider the age of these, they're now rapidly approaching 90 years old each. I am amazed at the condition of some of them, how lovely they are. But also, I don't mind if they're a bit on the worn side. Like this one, for example, is beautiful condition, number 36, which appears to be a biography of Bernard Shaw. So maybe that's what these sort of pinkish purpley titles are. Interesting, this one's got the same stamp, Dawson, Rue Albloy in Paris, the same as one of the earlier ones. And what's this inside? Oh, this is nice, a little slip. So, dear reader, I am trying hard to publish the very book you want. If I have not chosen it already, would you like to select it yourself? I will send you a free copy of any book published by me at your suggestion. For particulars, please see overleaf. Looking forward to hearing from you. I remain yours sincerely, the Albatross. Oh, this is what we wanted. Look, books are divided into 6 categories, each bound in a different colour. So yellow, psychological novels, essays, etc. Red is stories of adventure and crime. Blue is love stories. Green is stories of travel and foreign peoples. Purple, well, we guessed that, didn't we? Biographies and historical novels. And orange, tales and short stories, satirical and humorous works. The colours help the Continental bookseller to know the kind of book he sells, as he is often insufficiently familiar with the works of English and American authors. With regard to your suggestion for new Albatross books, you will receive a prompt reply to inform you whether the books books you have proposed have already been suggested, and if not, your recommendation will ensure it's being read at once. The free copy can, for obvious reasons, be sent only to the first person who suggests a book, which is consequently published by the Albatross. Well, there you go. So I'm going to leave that little card handy there so that we know what all these colours mean. So purple is biographies, and that is absolutely beautiful. It's not got its wrapper, but it's a really, really nice copy of that one from 1932. So that's a first edition. So a book on Bernard Shaw by Frank Harris with a postscript by Bernard Shaw, who was, of course, still around at that time. Number 45 here, Men Against Death, Paul de Criff. And these really are fantastically robust feeling books. They're great. They really are. It's difficult to describe, but they're fantastic. So an absolute classic, Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, book number 47 in the series. Pretty good stuff. Classed as a tale. This is a crime one. So Charlie Chan Carries On, Earl de Biggers, an original Charlie Chan book. I wonder if this one's a first edition. He's a bit fox, isn't he? But we don't care. Yeah, 1933. So I'm guessing on the back you've got Italian lira, French francs, RM. I don't know what RMs were. Oh, not to worry. Yellows. This is a psychological one again, also by D.H. Lawrence. He had loads published. The Virgin and the Gypsy and the Fox. Let's start a new row, shall we? This is a nice condition one. Chrome Yellow, another classic by Aldous Huxley. Number 64 in the series, in its dust wrapper. Oh look, it's the same ex-library from the same guy, J.G. West. I probably got these at the same time, you know. I remember occasionally you'd see the odd, that's a second edition, you'd see the odd Albatross book in a Penguin dealer's catalogue. And if they were really, really nice and not too expensive, I would pick up a couple. If they were under 100, numbered under 100, because I was trying to get the first 100 or so at the time. I picked them all up, but I was trying to get the first 100. That was number 64. The Waves, another classic by Virginia Woolf. That's number 65. Certainly a bit yellowed and worn, that one, isn't it? Well, that's got another little Albatross postcard in. Let's have a look at this one. So this is To the Albatross, 37 Rue Boulard, France, Paris 14. And that basically says the same as what the other one said, but on the back, oh look, my favourite books in your edition are, please publish the following books to me by and because. And if you do publish it, please send a copy. Look at that, that's really novel, that, isn't it? I'm glad that's in there because little things like that can sometimes make a book. The Private Life of Helen of Troy. Well, I've got a rather risque USA edition of this particular book done in the 1950s, but I guess this was perhaps the first time it was ever done in paperback. I'm guessing this is a reprint. Yeah, third impression. Copyrighted 1938, this one. I guessed it was a reprint because there was so many later editions listed there. Still nice. Nice copy of that one. And this is another sort of purple one, which is a biography, the story of Saint Michel, by a big thick one, that Alex Month. In fact, it says extra volume on the spine there, as does this one, Anne Vickers by Sinclair Lewis. This is also says extra volume, so maybe it's just because they're super thick, they're 300 pages in a dust wrapper. Oh, here's another one. Now this is quite nice, isn't it? Look, this is for the Crime Club. So, dear reader, didn't you enjoy this book? If so, consider the advantage of joining the Albatross Crime Club. It costs you nothing and brings you regularly the lists of the selections made for the club of the very best experts on the subject. To read a book thus selected ensures a happy escape into the thrilling realms of detection and adventure. Wow, I would love to see one of those. A catalogue of crime, Albatross crime titles. Wow, that would be pretty darn amazing, wouldn't it? And look at that under the wrapper, nice and bright. I would love to see that. If anyone's got one of those, please let me know. And the last one in this little stack, England There England, another orange one, number 95. Another orange one next, 97. Another D.H. Lawrence. Got loads of his, haven't I? The Lovely Lady. Same guy, look. The same. He must have had a big collection of Albatross books, and I must have bought them all. And look, this is a nice one, isn't it? So this is a crime one, the Albatross Crime Club. We've just seen a little bit about that. This is number 117, and it's by John Ferguson, and it's Night in Glengyle. I was going to say Gleneagle, Glengyle. And that's the Collins Crime Club logo, isn't it? But they've done it as the Albatross Crime Club for continental Europe. So it's number 117, 1933. There we are. The crime ones are quite expensive, unfortunately. As you would expect, as collectors, you just collect the crime ones. So this is a green one. So this is Stories of Travel and Foreign Peoples. And we jump ahead here to number 214. This is The Bird of Dawning, John Masefield. So, of course, in Germany at this time, the Nazi Party had risen to power. But they turned a blind eye to these Albatross books. I'm not really sure why. They tolerated them, shall we say. Big thick blue one here, which is Love Stories, All Men Are Enemies, Richard Oldington. Look at the size of it. So it's a huge, huge volume. Number 216. It's a bit of a catalogue at the back as well. something that Penguin always used to do. Now, this edition is composed in Baskerville type. It's over 420 pages long. Yeah, I don't have many blue ones. This is 223, Invitation to the Waltz, Rosamund Lehman. Bit of writing there in the back. I wonder what that was. A little bit of foxing on that one. Sinclair Lewis, another huge one, 235 Main Street. This is a real tome, you know. Bit of, I don't know what that is on the back there, bit of graffiti or something. 350 odd pages, this one, for Main Street. 1934. Here Today and Gone Tomorrow, 241. Lewis Broomfield. Bit of a tatty old copy, that one. Another D.H. Lawrence, 252, Sam Moore. Lovely copy of that one. Yeah, look, same library again. I must have bought them all at the time, but I honestly can't remember when that was. A nice original owner collection anyway. This one here, sort of the pinky purple colour, is a biography or an historical novel. It's a Memories and Vagaries by Alex Muth. Don't know who he is. (264) 266. Well, I know all about this guy. This is the one-volume edition of I, Claudius. Fantastic. I really like the Claudius books. I've got the first edition of Claudius and Claudius the God in hardback, and also the Penguin did rather nice editions of them as well. When Penguin released it, they did it in 2 parts. This would have been published about a year or 2 after the hardbacks, in fact. In 1935, I think I, Claudius in hardback was published in about 1932, 1933, so they were hot on the game there. Because, you know, I'm amazed Robert Graves gave them permission to publish it so soon after the hardback had gone out. But there you go. Another Aldous Huxley, Beyond the Mexique Bay. Nice green one in a wrapper. Look, same collection again. Who'd have thought? I can't for the life of me remember when I got all these, but they must have come from the same guy. I don't remember, but how many of those have we seen? Perhaps about 8 now? I don't know. The last one from that stack is by Lewis Golding. 5 Silver Daughters. Also an extra volume. That was number 278. I just got a small pile more left to do. So we're jumping forward a little bit further now to 323. Freya Stark, and this is a travel one. The Southern Gates of Arabia. And you can certainly see why Alan Lane was tempted to copy these, because A, they're fantastically produced, and B, the colour coding just seems fantastic as well. That's really nice with a fold-out map there. The colour coding is a work of genius, in fact, for recognising the books on the shelf. And it really was a question of bringing quality literature to the masses, really. There's nothing pulpy about these. This is good stuff. That was 323. 382, another one by Richard Arlington. 7 Against Reeves. I wonder if anyone in the UK has actually got a full set of these Albatross books. I bet there is. But there's someone with them all. I have occasionally, that's a nice book plate, isn't it? I have occasionally seen crime ones, nice condition crime ones, turn up on a few eBay auctions by sellers that I tend to follow. Actually based in Europe, so they would be able to get some of these. And the really nice crime ones, so there's some by Agatha Christie, for example, tend to be £20 to £30 a pop, which if you compare them to the Penguin ones of the period, that's cheap, to be honest. Journeyman, Erskine Caldwell again, 397. Now I'm looking for, there's another little letter to Albatross, changed again ever so slightly, but the same address. quite a good little principle. And this one's got a little bit of bending in the cover. What happened was, at the outbreak of the war, the Albatross Library had to stop publication. This is 1939, so it's still going at the moment. I believe when they came back, the numbering changed. It jumped forward by about 1,000. The British Character by Pont of Punch. Look at that, slightly different logo there. It doesn't actually say Albatross on the front. So FL, Florence, I don't know. Number 400 this is. What's that inside there? Amsterdam. It's amazing looking through these, and you see they've come across Europe. Yeah, so the illustrations in this book are reproduced from Punch, so Punch magazine. That's why this feels a bit different, because this is later now. So this is 1948. So this is the time when they tried to revive the imprint, and obviously by this time they were competing with Penguin, Pan, Collins, loads of them, and it didn't last very long. But I've got a few in this range. So this is a grey one. I don't know what this one means. Maybe it's factual, the flashing steam. Oh no, that was a play, so maybe that's for plays then. 1949. 557, Doris Leslie, Polonaise. These are obviously, well, so far in much better condition. 1947 again. Printed in Holland, that one. Siamese White, 573. This is Paris. Is that where it's printed? I'm not sure. Lovely edition again. Still got the card inside. Yep, 1947. Felt slightly different, that one. It's really weird, isn't it? This is nice. So this is, the numbering's jumped now, so it's up to 1,622. And this is Adventures of Tom Sawyer. Absolute classic by Mark Twain. Doesn't feel quite as nice, that one, but still 1947. This one's got a bookseller stamping from the Netherlands. Brilliant, isn't it? It's like being a detective. Another absolute classic, Rudyard Kipling's Kim. Big thick one, this, 3527. So I don't know, the numbering's all over the place, isn't it? But it seems to be fairly consistent for these later ones. 1947 again. A couple more here. So 5248, See How They Run. Gerard Tickell. Really nice copy of that, and virtually mint, that one. But these aren't as old. And then this one, which is back to the original series of Albatross, is the Albatross Almanac, which is dated for 1935. Really nice book, this one. It's like a miscellaneous look at bits and pieces and short stories from the Albatross Library at that time. 1934. And then there's one other which I believe is an Albatross book from the second time round, and it looks everything like an Albatross book. So it says the Albatross Book of Living Verse, and it's got the Albatross logo on, but was actually published by Collins in London. So I think this is possibly an English printing of some of the best of the poetry that was published in Albatross up to that point. That is what I'm guessing. I wasn't able to find a date for this one when I had a look at it first time round, but it feels 1930s. And I did pick it up, because it's got the Albatross logo on the front. Also, it's hardback and it's in its wrapper, so I think it really is the real deal. Now, the last thing I wanted to show you was this. So this book came out about a year or so ago, and it's called Strange Bird, and it's by Michele K. Troy. Now, what Michele has done is studied the Albatross Library and their connection to the Nazi Party and how basically they turned a blind eye to it. But there's far more into it than that. It's almost like a detective story. And this is a bit of a, well, it's a bit of a look at the publisher, but also the people behind Turchneuch and Albatross Press during the war. So if you are a book lover, you might want to track a copy of this down, because this is basically a history of the publisher. I've not actually got around to reading this one yet. I bought it as soon as it came out, and I will put a link to it in the description down below so you can grab one off Amazon. It is recommended. It's a sort of book that probably won't be around forever, so you may want to grab a copy whilst it's still in print, because these things do tend to disappear quite quickly. But it's beautifully put together, like the Albatross books themselves, and that cover is fantastic. So there you go. I hope you have enjoyed that look at this Albatross Continental Library. They certainly are really interesting, aren't they? And you can certainly see where Alan Lane from Penguin got his influences to produce the Penguin books from 1935 upwards. And certainly when I ever come across them, I definitely pick them up because they are beautifully produced books, and I suggest you do the same. Save them, because when you think they're, you know, those early ones are rapidly approaching 90 years old, and in a couple of years, and they're almost antiques already. So grab them when you see them. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed that. If you have, do please give it a thumbs up. Do please consider subscribing for regular vintage paperback coverage, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.